Okay, I'm resuming my recording. Good deal. And Lance, are you telling me something?
Yeah, I don't think it is it. Did you resume it?
I thought I did. Let me make sure. Okay. Yep,
Mine, yeah,
we
mine
are
shows
good. We're
recording.
Yeah,
recording.
okay, it's
All right.
recording.
Welcome, everybody, and welcome to those of you that will watch this recording a little bit later. As I said earlier, this is our Tuesday Leading Lab on a Thursday. And Leading Lab was really designed to come together with leaders from different industries. Because even though we're in different industries and you're facing different challenges, some of the underlying issues are exactly the same. And so we've got chat open. Please take advantage of that. Connect with people. Let people know where you're coming from. So, William, you're in Colorado, and congratulations for finally a winning season. That's awesome. That would be a
Yeah,
lot of
thank you.
fun. I
It's
don't
over.
remember what that's
Yeah,
like.
yeah, it's over. So, yeah, it was back in 1996, if you're referring to America's team. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to just in chat, if you don't mind popping in, I'm going to ask you two questions to get this party started. One is, what's one leadership trait you admire in others that you'd really like to embody more fully? There's some really cool research that says if you admire something in someone else, it's because you have it in you and it's wanting to come out even more. But I'm curious how you would answer that question. And then I have a second question this morning. So hopefully you've had 2 cups of coffee. My second question is, what's a recent change? Could be personal change, and you don't have to share it in detail. But what's a recent change for you that might have you thinking, my old leader identity, my old identity may not be working for me any longer? So today, it's really one of my favorites. I mean, we should have a really powerful session to kick off 2026. And it really is about how do we upgrade you? You know, we're going to spend a little bit of time this morning, and I'm going to give you some prompts. So if you have a piece of paper nearby, that would be great. Or if you're more of a tapping kind of person, you can do that too. But just spending a little bit of time reflecting on you. And then we're going to switch over to sort of you version 2.0. And so, just take a second if you don't mind, just popping that in chat. And I'm always looking for things on my screen. If you've run Zoom calls and sessions, you're always looking for stuff on your screen. So I'm pulling that up right now. Tim, my team is changing. Oh, yeah, Lance, I would be with you there. Quick decisions. I'd like to make quicker decisions, more curiosity. Oh, Tamara, isn't that the truth? Always smiling and doesn't show any frustration or stress. Yeah, there's a couple of people that really come to my mind who always felt like, even in the midst of the storm, they had this amazing calm about them and just how contagious that is. Justine, I'm high fiving you on the whole patience thing, for sure. Just other changes that are coming up. Finding my direct voice has been helpful to others. More steadiness, less urgency. Thank you. So while you're pulling that in there, I'm going to have 2 commercials. Okay. One is that this year we're going on a book tour. It's a virtual book tour for the most part, but we're having some in person meetups along the way. We have a few surprises in our back pocket along the way as well. And I would say the first, if you're looking at which book tour are you talking about, which book are you talking about? We're talking about this one. So we're celebrating all year that we made Amazon bestseller. But I also wanted to say that in the book, there's a QR code, and it links to a site where you can actually take a cranium survey to see how you're measuring up against those 7 strategies. You could also share that with your team. There's a lot of content in the book that you could actually use with your team. The goal behind this book was to hand over to someone just about everything that I've learned in 30 years. And so it's a little long, but it's 30 years. So, cut me some slack on that one. And the other thing that you've got in the book is a resource portal that has tons of additional resources, such as videos, templates, checklists, tools that you'd be able to use to have a difficult conversation or a talent development conversation. So in 2019, I wrote a book, and the goal of that book was to get it done. The goal of this book was to do it right. And so we wanted to pack it full of resources. But I wanted to have you save a date if you can. So our first meetup is going to be on March 5th from 6 to 8 p.m. And we are going to have it at the Amen Clinic, which is super exciting for me. If you've ever wondered, what is SPECT imaging all about? What do these machines look like? How are they reading these? What does this mean? How could I use it for myself or with other leaders? This is your time to do it. So we'll have, healthy snacks and stuff because it's Amen Clinic. And, and we'll be together for a couple of hours, really talking about how you could utilize SPECT imaging and the importance of looking at the brain. But we also get a tour of how they do the SPECT imaging. And I can't be more excited about our first meetup. So save the date. Okay. I want to show you a clip. And this was done by the company Dove. Thought it was pretty interesting.
We had an option of 2 pathways to walk, and they led to 2 doorways.
Given the choice between a door labeled beautiful or a door labeled average, which would you choose? Dove's latest campaign set up entrances in Shanghai, San Francisco, London, Sao Paulo, and Delhi. They watched as women made the decision to walk through the beautiful door or the average door.
I went through the average door.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I didn't even hesitate.
漂亮对我的概念来说，就是像明星那种遥不可及的那种。我走的是一般。
Surprisingly, many women walked through the average door. In a recent survey by Dove, 96% of women do not choose the word beautiful to describe their appearance.
I walked into that door which said average and I didn't feel really good after that.
Todos os dias eu passo pela porta comum. E ontem foi dia único e eu optei por passar pelo bonita.
The powerful results sparked a conversation about how women perceive their own beauty, and Dove wants them to be able to always choose beautiful.
I wanted to go through the average door, but my mum just pulled me over to the beautiful door.
Maybe I could walk in that door.
You can.
It was quite a triumphant feeling. It was like telling the world, I think I'm beautiful.
The hashtag Choose Beautiful campaign sends a meaningful message, and we hope it helps to inspire women all over the world. Be sure to tune in to Inside Edition.
Isn't that interesting? And I just want to pose that question to you. And again, a lot of, you're from all different industries, but our challenges are all the same. One thing I loved about that clip was that's universal. It's a universal way that you see yourself. And anyway, any thoughts about that are coming up for you when you see that clip? Yeah, Justine, I see this every day. Yeah, bet you do. And so you may not say beautiful, okay? But I want you to think about, how do you want to walk through the door of 2026? Do you want to walk in, maybe not average, maybe 2025 version of you wasn't average, okay? I'm not saying it was. But do you want to walk in the way that you've been? Or do you want to walk through a new door, even though it might be a little bit uncomfortable? So I want to spend some time talking about that and leading you through an exercise that may help you get clear about that. This is a model that we use a lot, and it's talked about in the book a lot. And it's really helping us see that when we think about changing, actions, we can change actions. And a lot of people have committed to that in January. They'll be done by February. But the truth is, those are external things, and actions rarely lead to sustainable results. We can give people actions, and we see that every day. You can Google actions. Now we have Chat GPT. It'll give you more actions than you ever wanted. And we hope that that changes results. And we see that on our teams. We see that in organizations. Let's just give actions. But what we continuously have to remember is we have got to shift beliefs. And I want to challenge you as you're working not only on yourself, but you're working with your teams. Listen for beliefs. I want you to get so good at that. And if you want just some fun practice listening for beliefs, listen to country music. Okay. It's just nothing but beliefs. Listening for the belief that is driving that. And the truth is, a lot of the beliefs that we're holding on to, and your beliefs are basically what you've agreed is true. And a lot of the beliefs have been passed down from great, 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 great grandmother or father, and we don't even know their name. But yet it's impacting our life because somewhere along the way, we agreed with that belief, whether we were conscious of it or not. We're also being shaped by the beliefs of those around us, in our culture. And it's just constantly challenging beliefs. So in the coaching that we do, we're always listening for beliefs. And I just want you to have some fun with it. As you go through today or go through this weekend and you're in conversation, listen for the belief that is driving that action, because our current rules, which basically is the composition of our experiences, beliefs, actions, are driving our results. So if we want different results, we just need to question the beliefs. And so here's just a simple example. Let's say I'm holding on to this belief that I have to be in control. And your brain will want to hold on to that because it wants to hold on to what feels familiar, because it wants to keep you safe. We're super excited about that, except it limits us when those are limiting beliefs. So if I'm holding on to the belief that I have to be in control, well, you can imagine my actions. I'm going to take on too much, probably going to macromanage people. I'm going to worry more, all the things. We could go on and on and on. And I remember being introduced to this belief by someone I admire a lot. And he told me, he said, Sherry, you can have control or you can have growth, but you can't have both at the same time in equal proportion. So you got to make your choice. And here's the thing. If your choice is I want control, great. At least you're aware of what you agreed to and how that's going to produce your results. But if you're choosing growth, they just can't be together in equal proportion. In other words, don't choose control and then be shocked when you don't see growth. It's sort of, as we say, the tail that comes with the dog, right? They go together. So I just thought I'd share with that example. Now, if you don't believe me, let's take a look at some studies that are showing this. So neuroscience shows that the brain defaults to behavior that aligns with who we believe we are. And so here are a few studies that I thought were pretty interesting and just kind of highlighted on the slide here, a key point from the study. One is that when habits are tied to identity, they're stronger and more durable. In this study, they measured how strongly participants identified with a certain behavior. And so I think even Atomic Habits talks about this. The person that's outside and they're offered a cigarette and they say, I'm not a smoker. How much stronger that is than the person who is outside and they're offered a cigarette and they say, I'm trying to stop smoking. And so a second study that I thought was really interesting, this was a meta-analysis where it actually reviewed over 70 studies involving over 36,000 participants. And it found that when a group identifies, even stronger the connection. So a stronger social identity, correct that typo, leads to better health behavior outcomes. Better outcomes. So let's think about this in your organizations. If I've strongly, this is the importance of having values. If you do not have well established values in your organization and you're seeing some chaos or you're seeing some dysfunction, that could be the reason. But when a group can rally around an identity, even stronger. So the power of community, and that leads back to one of the top threats that we talk a lot about, which is social rejection. We want to feel this sense of belonging. So if we can really capitalize on this sense of belonging around a united value, man, the actions and the results are natural outcomes. They're almost effortless. A third study I just wanted to bring up was actually 153 peer-reviewed articles across psychology. It was across health education and across behavior change. And it was just showing that identity is a leading predictor of behavior across all of those fields. Basically, if you want behavior change, you've got to anchor it in how people see themselves. We could spend, oh my goodness, so much time there. The last study that I wanted to pull out, it was just showing that small shifts in self-identity and how you identify can create lasting behavior change. So it doesn't always have to be something that moves heaven and earth, but something as small as having a mantra, okay? Like that's how I see myself, or self-affirmation. So this study goes into that in great detail. Basically, the point that I'm trying to make here is that our behavior change, the results that we're getting, we can change actions all day, but where the real change has to happen is shifting an identity. So I'm a word, nerd, and I wanted to pull out the real meaning of a few key words here. So the word habit actually comes from this Latin word, and what it means is clothing. It's what you wear. It's your way of being. And I often talk about we need to have a closet clean out sometimes. So it's where we actually get the word habit when you see a nun's habit. So habits are what we wear every day, our behavioral wardrobe, if you will. And listen, some of that fits today and some of it doesn't. So the question I just wanted you to ponder for a second is, are you wearing any behaviors that no longer reflect who you are becoming? Just because you wore something in the 80s doesn't mean you have to keep wearing it today. Just because you wore it when you were 3 doesn't mean you have to keep wearing it today. What are any behaviors that they don't fit anymore, or they're not who you are? So habit was one word I wanted to talk about. Identity is another one, because we use that. Well, I've just said that your behavior change is linked to your identity. What does identity mean? Identity really means sameness, consistency, alignment. It means congruence. And so identity isn't about being popular. It's about how consistent you are. And Tamara, I love your comment in chat about, being able to have this steadiness about you. It's about being consistent across roles, pressure, time, moments, conversations. So does who you are on a stage, in a crisis, at the dinner table match? And so, everybody came down pretty hard on these folks at the Coldplay concert. That's just bad timing right there. But the point is, this is a really horrible, example, and most of us have not maybe had that much lack of congruence. But we all have some level of incongruence in some areas, and that's really identity. Okay, so we're going to pull these together. And I want to just walk you through an exercise. So grab paper, pen if you haven't already, or a place that you can just jot down your thoughts, because your brain is a great place to generate ideas, not always a great place to hold them or analyze them. So we don't rise to the level of our habits, we rise to the level of our identity. And so I wanted to give you some prompts. I'm going to give you about a minute and a half in between these prompts. And I want you to just think of this is you version, you right now, or you 2025. I want you to just finish this for yourself. And if you feel so led to pop in chat some of your thoughts, you can, but this is for you. How would you finish this? A good leader is someone who second prompt, and I have 5, so you know how many's coming. As a leader or role model, and we use leader not necessarily as a title, but it's someone who shows up to life with that mindset. My job is to take a minute to complete that prompt. Prompt number 3. People expect me to prompt number 4. I was taught that success requires And then prompt number 5. What feels most familiar to me? You could think about what feels most familiar to me in my role, or what feels most familiar to me in my life is okay. So can we just pause for a minute? We're all family, you know. Anything that showed up for you that was maybe surprising or hard to write? Yeah. Do you mind
Yeah.
sharing?
Yeah, the third one really has made me hesitate. People expect me to um I got caught in based on their experience with me that I'm supposed to either show up that way all the time or generally should people expect me as a leader to do something that's important to them. And maybe it's both, but that really stumped me for a second.
Thank you. Yeah, Michaela, I was just looking at sacrifice. I was taught that success requires sacrifice. Whew. Doesn't it start to reveal some of those? Oh, Cody, you'd be impervious. Man, that's a big ask, isn't it? Expect me to know it all. Yeah, to have all the answers. Those are big asks of someone. And then you think, what experiences have fueled that belief to the point where I agreed with it, to the point where it feels true. And man, once your brain believes something is true, it's going to hold on to it. People expect me to absorb everything they dump on me, including trauma dumping. Yeah. And like, whew, that's powerful. And I think we could all relate to that in some way or another. Yeah. Yeah, Natalie, do you mind?
Yeah, my answer to number 5 was what feels most familiar to me is to react to external things, not plan so the external fits my schedule and who I am. That was a shock just now.
And then when you stop doing that, that's gonna be so uncomfortable. Ah, thank you. I would say that when I was going through this, I put hustle and grind. And I don't like that. But I've learned that became familiar. And coaching a lot of high performing people like yourselves are brilliant at what feels familiar is what's hard. We have success and we made it hard, and so we say, well, we had the success because we made it hard. And so therefore hard becomes like a non-negotiable criteria. Let's say you get the contract or you get the announcement that you get to lead the team or the merger, whatever, of whatever size. Our brain has 6 seconds of celebration, and then we immediately go to hard. Like, give it to me. I'll make it hard for everybody. So, okay, I'm going to keep moving. But anything else? Anybody else? Anything surprising there? I can't always see everybody, so just interrupt me. I have no problem.
Terry, I would say one thing, my answers today were very different to what my answers would have been a year and a half ago in a different environment.
Doesn't that feel good?
Yeah.
I think that's when you can really celebrate your growth, is when you can look back and say, Curtis, a year and a half ago would have had these responses. And that's powerful. I know for me, whenever, my calendar cleared on March 12th of 2020 and I had lots of free time, I did have that realization of Sherry 2 years ago would have just been devastated. And I was devastated for a few minutes. I just didn't stay there as long as I would have 2 years ago. And Judith, you're right. Like, evaluating, because the problem with these beliefs, is it really is like the fish in the water. You almost can't see what you can't see. I think that's the power of working with a mentor, coach, someone who's going to challenge that. It's a great leader is challenging your team. Like, what are the beliefs that you're picking up? Where did they come from? Are they serving us? And how do we change it? Because you're right, it doesn't make it reality. Just because something feels true doesn't make it true. It just feels true. But, ooh, that's a hard one to move past. So I want to flip for just a second because I think it's so true is that identity shapes behavior just automatically. Like that's milliseconds, you know, you don't really have to think about it. You don't have to necessarily lay your shoes out at night. If I'm a runner, I'm a runner, you know. I don't have to lay my stuff out. If the story stays invisible, it stays in control. And I think helping us see the story is a great step. Redefining the story is even better. So I'm going to walk you through 5 prompts. And I just want you to think about walking through maybe a different door. This is version 2.0 or next level you. Okay. So if you think about if the in the next level version of me, all right, I'm someone who dares to oh, and I'd love to know the answer to that question. Take risks. That's good, Valerie. I think I responded like, ask for what I really want. Question everything. Make mistakes and learn. Here's my second prompt. My job is to prompt number 3. I choose to lead in a way that honors the other person. The brand. Thank you. I like that response. Prompt number 4. Remember, this is in the next level version of me. So, next level Sherry defines success as and then number 5, in the next level version, next level Sherry what feels most familiar? God, that's so true, Cody. Peace. Boundaries. Thank you, Crystal. That's a great response. Like, imagine when boundaries doesn't feel uncomfortable to you, but it feels what's most familiar. Balance, presence. And sometimes it really is redefining and redesigning the scoreboard. Authenticity. Like true, Valerie, unapologetically, even if it's not popular. Ugh. And I'm an eye on disc, and that's a tough one for us. I mean, we like to be liked. So just checking in with the group, I've got one more thing I want you to do, but any of these that maybe surprised you or felt empowering when you wrote it? So really powerful point because we're walking around with this 3-pound bad boy and it's running the show. So it's important that we know how it works, and how it can get in our way, because while your brain does a lot of stuff for you, that's amazing. It's also doing a lot of stuff that can cause a lot of interference and unnecessary suffering. The brain protects what it believes about itself. And so, really working at that belief level is where the real sustainable change happens, whether it's you or your team or your family or your entire organization. Some of you I know are facing a year of tremendous growth, or you're about to cross a revenue mark that you never even thought possible. What we have to really think about is what's the identity that needs to go with that growth, with that change. Some of you are moving into a new season of your life because I'm talking to you. And so we really want to think about what's the identity that's going to fuel that shift in that season of my life. So the brain protects what it believes about itself. Here's my last thing that I want to ask you to do. So we're just gonna have you, as you look through the list that you just created, hopefully you wrote it down, maybe you still have it in your head, but I want you to just kind of come up with a quick mantra. So again, word nerd, but this is what the word mantra means. A mantra is just a tool for thinking. It's a tool for, in that moment, having something that we can leverage our thinking against so that we are in congruence. We are operating in alignment with who we want to be. It makes sure that you're going through the right door. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to think about what's your next level mantra. I want you to think about, as you responded to those 5 prompts related to version 2.0, next level you. What's just that one anchor sentence? So I pulled up some ones that either I've used or people that I've coached have used that just help them stay in a place that's anchored. It was a tool for their thinking. And just take a second. Whatever comes to mind is perfect right now. But what's that mantra? The thing that really anchors you and allows you to be able to maintain all those ways of being and those beliefs that are next level. Because you can use that. You think about, you probably have meetings today, or you've got challenges you're going to face today, or rooms that you've got to walk into, or screens you got to pop onto, and you want to go in as next level version of you. So if I really believe, how does next level Sherry go to that meeting? How does next level Sherry give that presentation? How someone who truly believes I was not put on the planet to be liked, which by the way was written on my board for maybe 2 years as just a really good anchoring mantra. That's great, Cody. Like, it's so true. I have everything I need because the creator of the universe leads me. I mean, you think about the creator of the universe that holds the planets together can probably handle the details. Most likely. Yeah, anybody else just willing to share your draft of your next level mantra? Man, Michaela, that is so good. In my book, the very first page is just an ingratitude page, and my last one was ingratitude to the former me, and it just said, "I see you, and you're enough." Mm, I know. Oh, Hattie, that's so good. I'm exactly where I need to be. One I've also used is I have plenty of time because I hate that feeling of being behind, you know? You have plenty of time. I think we should have an alarm that goes off in the morning that says, you have plenty of time. And I think there should be an alarm at the end of the day that says, wherever you are is exactly where you need to be. Because that feeling, and I don't know, I get LinkedIn stress. So I don't know if you guys do, but you look at what everybody's doing and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. And if we could remember, if we could anchor some of those mantras, how it keeps us in a better place. Okay. I always just love two things. As I lead fully, this is how I want you to go through your weekend, today through the weekend, maybe this year if you're so bold. But at next level identity, how do you enter that meeting? Next level identity, how do you face that challenge? How do you make that decision, that presentation? So as I lead fully from my next level identity, I will. And that's what we've got to do, because if experiences shape beliefs, we've got to have new experiences. And warning, they're going to be uncomfortable. Okay, so just know that if it's uncomfortable, you're probably doing it right. If you want more ideas for yourself or your team, like you could use this very thing with your team. Use it. I would love that. That would be amazing. If you want more ideas, you can check out our book. And if you want us to help you, well, great, because that's what we do every single day. that is our purpose, our passion, our life's calling. So never go it alone if you don't have to. It's what we're here for, and I know many of you are here for too. So I'm going to stop recording. Those of you who've got to get back out there changing the world, go do it. We need it. And I'm going to stop recording. Thanks for those of you who've